So if we start looking at some of the governance and security options we have on the platform, really the first thing you need to think about is identity. Obviously, people logging into the Azure portal or referencing the Azure API to deploy and manage services needs to be restricted. Most times, you're going to want to sync existing identity from on-premise Active Directory into Azure AD, and then that will allow you to leverage your existing identity against permissions in Azure to secure resources. There may be some occasions where you're not going to do that, but for 99% of the cases, that will be the way to go. It's important to think about who's got access to the portal. So it sounds obvious, but only give people access if they need it. If they shouldn't be making changes to Azure environments, don't give them access. We recommend enabling multi-factor authentication to anyone that's got access to the Azure portal, just as another level of authentication and protection. And that can be combined with, your standard sort of conditional access policies, which you may already have implemented for Office 365. So by using those, you can prompt for MFA if someone's coming in from outside of a regular Office environment, which is obviously likely to be the case at the moment. Whereas if they're accessing something from within the Office, you might want to leave off MFA. And we also recommend looking at PIM. So that's privileged identity management. And that allows you to give just-in-time access or administrative access to users. So in their day-to-day operations, they will operate at a lower permissions level. And then if they need to make a change that requires a higher level of access, then they can request this via PIM in the Azure portal. And you've got various different ways of allowing that increased access. You can allow messages to go through to a team leader, for example, to authorize, or you can prompt for MFA at that point to get them to have another level of authentication before they have that increased access. And all of that is logged, so you'll have a nice audit trail of who's been doing what and at what times. And that will give them the increased level of access for a finite period of time. So, 2 hours, for example. So if you're deploying a new platform, now's the time to sort of design with security in mind. And that's really sort of using things like subscriptions, management groups, resource groups to segregate resources. We'll come on to that a bit in the next slide. And from a sort of support point of view and an access point of view, try and segregate down your duties and look at the individual teams that are going to be managing these environments, and just allow the minimum set of requirements for these people to perform their jobs. So rather than obviously giving everyone owner access, try and split it down. There's a number of pre-built roles within the Azure portal, things like virtual machine contributor, etc. There's numerous roles that you can use. You can also create your custom ones as well, and just really try and restrict that access to just what people need.